Welcome back to Raw Guitar Confidential with Scott and Ryan. Ozzy's dead. Fuck. So we've known. So Ozzy Osbourne died
just now, like 5 minutes ago. We found out.
Yeah, 5 minutes. Oddly enough, like kind of weird that like my dad would call me.
Yeah. Well, maybe he had something. Was he involved or something?
I mean,
Ozzy, take this hemlock. It would be great.
Yeah. So my dad called me to bug me about other shit.
Okay.
Which is fine. I mean, I'm glad he's feeling good enough to bug me about shit.
That's
like,
good.
I hope he continues to be healthy enough to bug me about shit. But yeah, like while I'm on the phone, like talking to my dad, he's like, "Oh, and Ozzy Osbourne died." Like, fuck, what?
Yeah, that's nuts. Well, I mean, it's so weird that happens. Like he just did his last concert, just like last weekend or something, right?
Man, I wonder how they were keeping him alive for that.
I mean, talk about it. It's so strange. That happens all the time. Like when someone's got something major happen going on in their life, they'll like find a way to stay alive, and then the day it's done, they'll just drop like. Like,
yeah.
It reminds me like Lemmy like had a couple of shows, whatever. He had to get through the shows, and he did it, and then like the next day he was dead. You know what I mean? And it's so crazy.
Yeah, yeah. Lemmy for sure.
I mean, that happens to a lot of people. I mean, a lot of the famous people when they're they have something that's coming up, and so Ozzy clearly. That was like, okay, I'm tapping out. You know what I mean? After that, it's so weird. I wonder if he was like on death's door all the time leading up to that, or
fuck, I don't know. I mean, when they say complications from Parkinson's, I mean, here's where I'm kind of ignorant about. I mean, I know it's a neurodegenerative thing, right? But I mean, like, is there a medication that keeps you alive, and then if you stop taking it, then you have like a heart attack or a stroke or something?
That's the question too. Is like your muscles are part of your neurosystem, so is it possible like your heart just stops beating or doesn't beat consistently or something like that? I just speaking out of ignorance. I don't know.
Yeah, same here, right?
Yeah.
Wow. So like as we sit here, these are the first moments of living in a world with no Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, and I can relate to that because we had the same thing when Eddie passed a few years ago. It's like this is the first time in my life there's been a world where no Eddie Van Halen was in it.
Yeah. And John Sykes more recently.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is
John
still
Sykes,
more personal to guys like us, but like Ozzy, like that's
an icon. Yeah.
An icon, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, that's I just wonder how Sharon's going to profit off it.
Yeah, no shit, man.
That's the first thing that comes to my mind. How many documentaries are going to be made on Ozzy now? And she's going to go to every archive of every demo he ever did with any guitar player in the band, and she's going to release stuff for the end of time with Ozzy.
You know what? I bet maybe like Sharon goes next, and then like it falls to Jack.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's
he has the oldest daughter that stayed out of the limelight, so I guess she would probably be like the next like heir apparent. But I wonder if the kids would be agreeable to releasing all of the like every Randy thing they've got,
like live concert footage.
Yeah, I want the professionally shot, Randy tours.
Absolutely, I want to remaster Bark at the Moon and all Zen too. I mean, it's there's a bunch of things I'd love to see happen. Hopefully that can happen when Sharon's out of the picture.
And then send all the royalties to Jake. For Bark at the Moon.
That's probably not going to happen.
I know.
I got a feeling even Ozzy's kids aren't going to do that because there's probably so much money involved for that. There's no way.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Osbourne seems like a good dude, and I mean Kelly seems like a fine person. I don't have any issue with the kids.
You'd be a good dude, but you're not going to part with like $20 million just because you're a good dude. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know. Maybe you would. I mean, maybe if you've got $60 million, I don't know. Maybe if you have like $100 million,
I'd like to think that they wouldn't have screwed
deal.
over Jake in the first place. That would have been actually.
Well, Sharon's the one who screwed over Jake.
I know, but I mean, Ozzy was not like that. It's just he's not just some bumbling fool who just goes along with. He had to write off on that and say, okay, that's cool too.
Yeah, but I think Ozzy was at that time an addict who would have just like. Who needed someone to just take over for him?
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
I mean,
that probably was the dynamic of their marriage throughout, right?
Yeah.
She did save Ozzy. You've got to give Sharon credit for that.
No, he wouldn't have ever had a solo career had she not been involved.
That's right.
I mean? And ironically, so Dana Strum too.
I know.
Dana Strum
Cheers to Dana Strum.
I mean, that would have never happened too. But yeah, I mean, I've always said this about Ozzy Osbourne. As much as I love Ozzy's music, both with Sabbath and with solo. Probably for me, I'm more of a solo Ozzy guy than I'm a Sabbath guy. Just because I'm so much more into the guitar players than Ozzy had.
And actually, I love the Dio era and the Tony Martin era of Sabbath.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it's not that I dislike Sabbath.
Totally.
I prefer the Ozzy solo stuff because I'm more a Randy, Jake, and Zach guy.
Sure. I mean, if you're a kid who's just learning guitar, I mean, I don't know how many times I've taught Iron Man to a kid
I do it every week.
to get every week. Yeah, like every week of my life. Yeah.
But I mean,
so yeah, going to Sabbath school is a great way to start playing guitar, just straight
Sabbath
up.
and Scorpions are actually great ways. If you like rock guitar, those are great. Then I'll throw it out there. I'll say it. Green Day. Green Day is actually a great one too.
Yeah, I got to give it to Green Day.
If you're an AC/DC for that matter too. So if you're a starting out guitar player and you're looking to play something that's kind of cool, that's not super hard, then Green Day, AC/DC, Scorpions, Sabbath, those are a good place to start.
And man, it's have to be a separate topic, but I'm pretty much like of the opinion that like AC/DC only has like 2 good albums now.
Well, they've got the same album basically. They got like one album.
Yeah, right.
It's just been released over different iterations over the course of 40 years.
I've recently had like I usually like slag Aerosmith for doing like the movie soundtrack song that's fucking garbage. But you know what? AC/DC's almost like is bad in Offender.
I don't know.
Anyway,
what song? They Shoot to Thrill is a great song.
They did. Wait, what movie was that on?
That was in Avengers.
Well, but it wasn't recorded for Avengers. Like that song existed.
They actually took a bunch of AC/DC stuff and they kind of co-opted it into Iron Man and Avengers. But it wasn't like they made the song for the movie. They just took the songs.
Okay, but AC/DC did make a song called War Machine for Iron Man, and it's just fucking crap.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I've never heard that.
Totally. And there's another one.
What's the one from Last Action Hero? Big Guns. Big Guns.
Okay, that's not as bad.
Yeah, that's actually just a rewrite of Back in Black. If you listen to this song.
Kind of, yeah, right.
It's just it's pretty much just Back in Black, but like slight variations. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then recently there's another one like Demon. It was on like a Ghost Rider thing or something like that.
Thunderstruck's been used and co-opted in every movie, TV show imaginable since this came out.
Yeah, but Thunderstruck was already a song first.
I know that's what I'm saying, but like a lot of the AC/DC stuff is just great AC/DC stuff that got co-opted into film and television.
Right, but the specific stuff that I'm complaining about, and then we'll get back to
those
Ozzy.
Are much lesser known songs, though.
Honestly, dude, like I'm in shock.
Yeah, I am too. Here's what I was gonna say though. That's where I was going with like as much as
I'll go back to ripping on AC/DC later.
And I'll come back. Just pin on that one. Put a pin on that.
Yep.
I've always said about Ozzy, he's a guy who's incredibly lucky to be surrounded by people much more talented than himself throughout his entire career. You know what I mean?
That's the delegate.
It's like the Forrest Gump of rock and metal. You know what I mean?
Dude, collaboration and delegation is like the secret to success.
It's true, and he just shows that he had Tony Iommi, and not only that, but Geezer and Bill Ward, who are all really creative people.
That's right, dude. Geezer is like the heart and soul of Black Sabbath, right? Like we wouldn't have Black Sabbath without Geezer.
There's plenty of credit to go around in that.
Yeah,
band.
totally, wholeheartedly.
But then he had Randy Rhoads after that, and then Jakey Lee, and then Zach Wilde. All guys are incredibly talented, not only guitar players and performers, but great songwriters.
Well, and then there was Lee Kerslake and Bob Daisley, and then you have to give Phil Susan credit.
Yeah, Shot in the Dark is his tune.
Shot in the Dark is his tune. Yeah,
so I mean that's what I mean. Like it's
and
not like
Zach.
And on to Ozzy's credit, he is responsible for all the lyric line melodies. He didn't write the lyrics, but the melody lines he wrote.
Randy Castillo, you got to give him credit.
Yeah, I mean everybody he's in the band, but he's always been surrounded by guys who are much more talented than he is.
Sure,
you know
absolutely, man.
And I think that's something that is, but the one talent he has is something, no matter how great a musician you are, no matter how great a songwriter you are, you can't buy it, which he's got star power. There's something about Ozzy that's just compelling to people.
Yeah.
They want to watch him. They want to see like what he's going to do. And I think it's that kind of almost like the early Guns N' Roses thing where like you're just thinking some shit's going to go crazy and sideways at any moment and you're waiting for it to happen. Or like you're sitting on the edge of your seat, like waiting for something to go nuts. You know what I mean?
Well, and Ozzy was like the vanguard of the pushback against the satanic panic, like
he was like public enemy number
country.
one back in the day, Prince of Darkness.
Dude, he was our miracle man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like
calling out, speaking of that song, was just calling out the nonsense of like the super Christian
Jimmy
right.
Swaggart.
Yeah,
although I think
and their
Swaggart,
hypocrisy and
I think Swaggart just died, so that's fucking awesome.
Who's the other one that was big
That's
at that
good.
time? The one that was married to Tammy Faye, Jim Baker.
Jim Baker, is he dead yet?
Yeah, he died a long time ago, I think.
No, I think he's still peddling nonsense on like Three Angels Broadcasting.
Is it okay if in my mind he's dead? He died a long
That's
time
fine.
ago.
I mean, the guy, he's a con man piece of shit, just like all those guys, right?
Yeah. I like that Billy Graham's son or whatever. It's like, oh, he's such a good man.
Franklin Graham, yeah, he's a piece of shit too. So so Ozzy was
snake
like
oil salesman of the first order,
right? Like so, like Ozzy was like our champion against like that particular puritanical cohort of American society.
I think primarily he got drafted in that position.
He did,
so famous,
but he embraced it though.
Yeah, he did. And
he was like, you know what? Fuck you. I'll go for like full more Satan.
Yeah. Well, and also more everything, just more. What's the word? Blasphemous.
Yes, therapeutic. I'm a firm believer in therapeutic blasphemy.
Yeah, well, blasphemy is a victimless crime. for sure.
Yes,
but
so much fun. But anyway, but Ozzy was like our man. He was our spokesperson.
You know, though, I think that's selling him so much shorter than he deserves. Because if he was just like a bulwark against the Christian right, then that would have been one thing. But he was a great performer, incredible musician, songwriter.
Oh, sure. I'm not saying he was just that. That was one of the things he was to me.
Yeah, I gotta tell you that when I heard about that Back to the Beginning thing that was going to happen, I remember my first reaction is I don't want to see Ozzy like that. And that's kind of, I don't want to see like hanging on by a thread, just kind of getting wheeled out there, kind of Ozzy. I'm glad it happened though. I think that probably meant a lot to him. That was probably the thing where he kind of felt like I'm going to go out being the Ozzy that I know I am, not just like some crippled old man sort of.
Hey, has it been a week?
It's only been like a couple, like 10 days.
It's been like 2 weeks, 10 days, not even 2 weeks. Yeah,
it's been like 2 weeks. Yep. So it's insane. I mean, that happens a lot. You know what I mean? It's where like, I mean, I know from my own personal experience when my father passed. I remember I was there with him, and he was essentially in a coma, but was still alive. And then my sister and brother arrived, and then when all of us were in the room together, he died within like 5 minutes.
Yeah, gave him permission to let go.
Exactly, which is insane to think that could happen. It's like, okay, this is a person. You would think that if you're going to die, you're just going to die, but like. Sometimes there's a thing you have to do, and then afterwards your body will say, okay, now I can do it. You know?
Well, the human body wants to live. You know what I mean? That's why, like, you should never hang yourself from a tree.
Yeah. Well, that's also, I mean, there's so many other reasons not hang yourself from a tree.
Yeah. Well, I'm just, the human body wants to live. It'll fight, right? Yeah. So,
But that's shocking to me. That just tells me that probably meant a lot to him to do that last show. It was one of those things.
Yeah,
where,
and if that's all that last show was just to satisfy Ozzy, then that's good.
But it was a good celebration of all the music, from all the different ways he got music out there, all the different generations of bands who were taking part in that. You know what I mean? And it's almost like seeing like a giant family reunion with all your great grandkids and kids and grandkids and and nieces and nephews,
all your minions.
Yeah, well, everybody who's sort of has a direct line to you, and you see how many different kinds of artists were involved in that.
Oh, who got influenced? Yeah,
I mean that must have been pretty cool to see.
Was Gus G there? I wonder.
I don't think he was.
Yeah, that sucks.
The only two guys from Ozzy's past were Jake and Zach. There's only two guys that were there. Oh, by the way, I saw the footage. The bass player when Jake was playing was Dave Ellefson.
Oh, it was Ellefson. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, got it.
And his Mike Gordon on drums. And
you can forgive me for not paying attention to.
What's crazy is I watched the solo actually on Ultimate Sin. Both Jake and Nuno played the solo. They played it like in unison.
Oh,
which is kind of crazy. I was like, oh, that's cool. And
so the camera, from what I saw, was just on Nuno, but they both played it.
They both, it was cutting back and forth. I saw like some footage that was like a someone's iPhone or something like that, and they were both playing it.
Wow, you'd really have to like play that solo on the fucking Nuggets if you're gonna do it in unison with another player. Well,
Nuno's that kind of player though.
Oh, I know. I mean, playing in harmony would be easier because you still have a little bit of wiggle room. But if you're playing in unison, like being. So for those of you listeners out there, it's it's worse to be a little out of tune than the other player than a lot. Yeah. Doing I'm sure you can relate to this, like practicing like scale drills with your students, but your student's G string is just like a little
to me,
flat.
It's like getting jabbed in the eye with like an ice pick.
Yeah.
Tune up the guitar. Like, so terrible. Like it's the worst. It's like that little microtone off. It's like, it's so terrible. But I mean, it was cool. I mean, it's just a weird time. I think that for you're a Gen Xer, and a lot of your heroes that you grew up when you were little kids that you thought were godlike heroes are now getting to that point where they're going to start dropping like flies. And it's a weird place to be. It kind of reminds me, I'm sure, what the baby boomers, although a lot of the baby boomers heroes are still alive. Like Eric Clapton's still alive, Jimmy Page is still alive. You know what I mean? Only recently did Jeff Beck die. I was like, but he was alive forever.
And I mean, he was a hero to like pretty much guitar players.
Yeah, but I mean, like some of the big hero guys from that time period.
Yeah, like Pete Townsend and Roger Daltrey are still alive, even though they fired Ringo's. Mick,
Paul McCartney is going to do a new tour this year. I mean, it's
holy shit, dude! Like. We live in a world that has no Eddie Van Halen and now has no Ozzy Osbourne, yet there's still Keith Richards.
Yeah, exactly.
Holy shit.
I know, it's weird. It's and he was way famous for anybody even thought of those other guys. They've already had their whole career and then went away.
That's wild, dude. Like somewhere in the world, Keith Richards is receiving the news that Ozzy Osbourne's gone.
Yeah, exactly. And
Probably right after his blood transfusion.
Yeah, exactly.
His morning blood transfusion.
But he does while he's holding a martini in the other hand and smoking.
Well, maybe that's what Ozzy should have.
Yeah.
Maybe that should have been Ozzy. I don't know.
No, I mean, I think.
Fuck, man, dude, I'm bummed. This sucks.
Oh yeah, whenever we lose a hero, man, it's awful. I mean,
yeah, this one really sucks though. Like,
I mean, they all suck, man. It wasn't fun losing John Sykes either. That was a because
totally because like John was so. And I probably,
as guitar players, that's
very personal.
Yeah, because that's somebody who was our hero.
It feels personal,
and we grew up listening to his playing and trying to emulate his playing. You know what I mean? And I mean, neither of us grew up listening to like Ozzy's voice and trying to emulate his voice, but we did grow up listening to those guitar players who were in the band.
And I'll tell you what, like Ozzy, when I was growing up, like Ozzy it seemed dangerous, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Again,
Ozzy was
all the satanic panic stuff. Like I remember hearing, Bark at the Moon on my Sanyo boombox on a dark, rainy night, like on 93 Rock. Yeah.
I've always loved that song too because I remember hearing. You can hear the excitement and the danger and the excellence in that song too.
Sure.
The guitar playing, it's like, holy crap, this guy's amazing.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And this is in the thick of like, I've got like actual adults telling me that, there's backmasking and,
this is all this music glorifying Satan and stuff.
Right. And Satan's going to get you and shit. And then, there's just some.
Totally exists, by the way. Totally exists.
And so I just remember like,
how can an adult do that? Too?
I don't know, man. Like I said, like
demons and Satan are gonna get you. I'm a grown man, but I'm gonna tell you the demons.
Shit, man. Dude, my aunt Renee used to tell me when I was a kid that she was into like Native American culture. She would tell me that if I misbehaved, that Kachina dolls would come by the house and abduct me and cannibalize me.
Oh, have fun.
I thought it was great. I was totally frightened.
And he looked at Aunt, that's science, just science. Totally. So you can tell it's been documented year after year. Everyone's got it's evidence.
So I'll tell you what was like. So first of all, like Ozzy was so much fun, but like
total wild rock star at his core.
Absolutely, but I'll tell you what was so important to me, I think, like, and I'm just kind of riffing on this because we're in the moment, but again, like being steeped in all the satanic panic bullshit, right? And like half of my family is Southern Baptist, and like half of my other family is Catholic.
Oh wow!
Right,
so like both sides.
Like just having this stuff just kind of force fed into me, right?
Yeah.
Like. Like when you're a kid already, like you're not in control of anything.
Yeah, you're at the mercy of other people's,
you're at the mercy of adults, whether it's your parents or your teachers at school aunts or cops or whatever, right? Like you have like no agency when you're a kid.
Yeah.
So like what Ozzy in part meant to me was, I love this, and I'm gonna fucking love it anyway, and I don't care if you're telling me that I'm gonna go to hell, or any of your like mystical Satan bullshit, or what. Like I can tell this is fucking awesome. This is mine.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, in a way, that's a way of claiming that bit of your own personal, sovereignty. You know what I mean? Is saying that,
That's right. Yeah. So to the memory of Ozzy, thank you, Ozzy, for that. Even though I know you're dead and you don't exist anymore.
Yeah. But you know what though? His impact on us is real.
That's right.
And his impact on the world was real. So yeah, he may not exist anymore, but he's got people who are close to him and loved him. Are going to miss him. That's going to affect their lives. We're probably never going to see another Ozzy. I don't think probably.
No, we never will.
Going to see another person like Ozzy. I mean, maybe Lady Gaga will be the closest to something like that.
Well, need. I mean,
but Lady Gaga wasn't as revolutionary. I don't think as what he's doing.
No,
not at all.
I mean, she stood. She definitely is not. She's a target of the puritanical forces of American society, right?
In the same way that Ozzy was,
right. Yeah. And like Taylor Swift is, but Taylor's like not. I think like Lady Gaga a little bit more because she champions the LGBTQ community.
Yeah. And she's also kind of pushing the boundaries of sort of like how she presents herself. She's not as conforming. About how she presents herself.
Like she'll wear a meat dress.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's rad.
Or she'll dress like a guy, or she'll go and go full like slutty glam too.
Fuck yeah.
She'll do the whole everything in between. So she's not being told how she's going to present herself, and I think that's dangerous to some people. They don't like women having that kind of agency.
Damn. Yeah. I want Lady. I feel like I need a hug from Lady Gaga just to let me know it's going to be all right.
Taylor Swift at her core is just like a nice chick who just loves playing music.
Yeah, she's innocuous.
You can just tell that she's a nice girl. She's probably like someone who you would have known growing up. She just seems like somebody you would have been friends with in school. Yeah. She was just cool. She was in her history class. She was a cool girl.
So like who out there is going to say, fuck you, Joel Osteen?
Yeah. Well, unfortunately that doesn't exist anymore because it really we're in an attention economy now. It's not about anything that's real big statements or artistic statements. It's attention economy. So even if you were to do that, it would be performative to get clicks or get someone to kind of sign up for Instagram or get more followers or some crap like that.
I would welcome.
Can I tell a personal story?
Please do. Please, yes.
Because to me, my older brother was a big influence on me when I was a kid, in the sense that was not the area I wanted to go. I remember watching him and saying like, okay, whatever he's doing, I'm going to go the other way.
You chose the opposite day approach.
Exactly. I did a George Costanza. I just chose the opposite. But I remember he was really into Iron Maiden and Ozzy Osbourne, and because of that, when I was really young, I didn't want anything to do with those bands. Like, no, if my brother's into that, I'm not going to like that band. It's not for me. And then when I discovered guitar, that all changed. And I became an instant Ozzy fan. I remember Randy Rhoads was awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember thinking like, holy shit, I was really into Eddie. Or that's what got me into guitar. But then I discovered very quickly Randy and Jake and all that stuff. And then a lot of my love for more heavy metal, like the heavier stuff, the less fun stuff. I was already into like Def Leppard and Poison, Bon Jovi and Van Halen, Whitesnake. That's more fun, kind of positive stuff. But I wasn't into the darker stuff very much. But then Ozzy was kind of the reason I started getting into that stuff, mainly because of the excellence of the guitar players. I remember thinking that Randy's freaking amazing.
Absolutely.
Jake's freaking amazing. You know, I remember thinking these guys are awesome, and that got me into Maiden and got me into Priest, and then that in turn got me into like Megadeth and Metallica and Death Angel and bands like that. Bands I would have never ever discovered had I not had the gateway of Ozzy. And then looking back at the heavier bands I got into later on, and Ozzy's so melodic and like mainstream comparatively, like Death Angel or something like that.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
It's one of those things looking back at that you needed that turn. It's very hard to go from Def Leppard to Death Angel. You know what I mean? That's not an easy,
it's like you're going from like Mixolydian to Phrygian.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what I mean?
Or harmonic minor in Randy's
or Phrygian
case.
dominant.
Yeah, it's Phrygian dominant. That's right.
It's more like going from minor pentatonic to Phrygian dominant.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
You know what I mean? But that doesn't say
or diminished pentatonic.
That's not to say I don't love Def Leppard. I definitely do.
Right.
It's one of those things that it's just that I wasn't going to ever be into those other bands had it not been for Ozzy. And by extension, the great guitar players who played with Ozzy. You know what I mean? That was the thing that got me there. So like I kind of owe him for my love of the heavier stuff. I would have never gotten into that or discovered that had it not been for Ozzy. I didn't care about the satanic. We talked about this before on the podcast. I never thought about that. That wasn't anything that had anything to do with me. I wasn't a religious person. I didn't know anybody who was religious. So
yeah, dude, I got it
like
from
it was happening over there. I don't even know what that is.
Dude, it was a part of my life.
I know. I think it helped shape you. For me,
totally.
It wasn't. It was something I never even thought about. You know what I mean? So. And people who were religious, if I had like a friend,
well, you missed out. It was fun.
No, I didn't miss out. I was there for Ozzy. But I was all about the guitar.
I mean, the Satanic Panic.
Yeah, no, I didn't give a shit about that.
The rebellion again. I mean, rock and metal is the language of rebellion.
I did like the fact that like it wasn't considered like polite to be into like Metallica and Ozzy and Motley Crue. That was like, considered a little dangerous. That was kind of a bonus, like cherry on top of kind of anti-establishment.
All the more reason it sucks that it is polite to like Metallica.
Yeah, well, I mean, Skid Row was like that too. I remember like listening to Youth Gone Wild and saying, "Fuck yeah,
yeah,
the
fuck
Youth Gone Wild."
Yep.
You know what I mean? That kind of thing. But we weren't. We were just like suburban kids.
But yeah, so like Ozzy was a great gateway into King Diamond. Like the ultimate anti like Christian right band.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think that's an easy way to kind of start getting into the heavier music. I think that's what's missing now. Like all metal nowadays, all the new metal bands are pretty much extreme metal bands, and it's very hard to like go from listening to Bruno Mars and then check out this band. This is called Cattle Decapitation. It's a very big left turn to like try and get someone into that. So if there's not that gateway, like you can get in this band and this band leads you to this band, and this band leads you to this band, and you kind of slowly, almost like the
locks, to get heavier and
like
heavier.
The locks in the lake, and you have to you can't just go straight to the lake. You get drowned. You have to kind of walk your way up to it.
But dude, I can go back to like Diary of a Madman, and it's still got like that dark, like haunted castle magic.
Oh, for sure.
That's
partially is the classical influence that Randy brought.
Sure.
And that all just was tailor made for that kind of feel. Yeah, even listening to like Mr. Crowley's got a little bit of that too.
Oh,
like,
fuck yeah. I loved it. Dude, I just started a couple of students on Mr. Crowley again last week.
Yeah, it's classic. Yeah.
Dude, the end solo from Mr. Crowley, like learning that as a kid, that, as like a 12 or 13-year-old, like...
Yeah, it's a big moment.
It is. You're like, that's when, like, I remember that's the first time I said to myself, holy shit, I can shred a guitar solo.
Yeah.
Like I'm that kind of guitar player now.
Yeah, makes sense.
And that was a big deal. So big thanks to Ozzy for that too. And Randy.
Yeah.
Well, Ozzy and Randy. Right?
We would never have known about Randy had it not been for Ozzy.
That's right.
And Ozzy would never have had a solo career had it not been for Randy.
Well, so I mean, don't you think Quiet Riot would have continued with Randy and still had success?
No, I don't think so.
So did Quiet Riot need Randy to leave to find success?
Yeah, I think so, because Randy was driving the band. I mean, his stuff he was his writing, if you listen to those Quiet Riot albums with
like
Randy,
Laughing Gas.
That was great.
That's great.
But if you listen to the songs they're writing, they were just kind of generic, kind of rip-offs of trying to be somewhere between Bowie and
the
like,
songs weren't as strong.
70s rock. Yeah, exactly. I thought the songs were much stronger when they broke through with Mental Health. That was like a much better songwriting that they did. I think Carlos,
a little heavier too.
I think Carlos was a little bit more of a he was the guy that needed to work with Dubrow to make that stuff happen. You know what I mean?
That's an interesting perspective. We never talked about that on the podcast. All the attention goes with Randy, but yeah.
Well, I mean, everyone knows that Randy became a legend, and his style just fit so perfectly with Ozzy. Whereas I think with Quiet Riot, that Carlos' style was more in line. You know what I mean? He was less of an overpowering guitar player. He was more like a team player kind of player. You know, and I think he came with a different group of influences that kind of, it's tough. All the bands after Van Halen broke out, every band was trying to figure out how to be the next Van Halen, and they were just trying stuff. You know what I mean? And
at least like Ozzy Osbourne's music, it definitely wasn't trying to be the next Van Halen.
No.
It was its own like evolution. It had the darkness and the mysticism of Sabbath, but like with
more,
the chops,
more melodic too. It was definitely more mainstream than Sabbath because it was definitely. If you listen to Crazy Train, that's a pop hook. You know, in the
totally
and stuff. You know, I mean, it had that kind of brightess to it that Sabbath didn't have. There's more,
but it had light and dark because of the relative major minor key thing.
No, I understand what you're saying, but I mean, the vibe overall with the solo band was lighter in tone than Sabbath. Sabbath was very dark and dirgy. I feel like
definitely.
Ozzy was much more bright sounding.
Yeah, Ozzy was definitely not dirgy. That's for sure.
I mean, there was elements of that. There's certain tunes where it definitely had that kind of sound, but they're just even like "Steal Away the Night" or like I don't know. There's like an up kind of vibe. To
agreed. Like it wasn't
Flying High Again. There's like an up kind of vibe to that song.
Like the Ozzy era Sabbath like has the market cornered on doom.
Yeah, that's where doom metal came from, and thrash metal and all the heavier kinds of metal came from Sabbath. You know what I mean?
But no, it's not doomy in like there's a certain like
there's big hooks and big pop melodicism to it. You know, in the Ozzy solo stuff that there wasn't there in the Sabbath stuff.
There's there's an aggression in Ozzy's catalog too that I don't think is in the Sabbath stuff.
It's heavier, faster, and it's also more melodic, I would say, than the Sabbath stuff. But the Sabbath stuff's more doomy and sludgy and more like sort of like I don't know, darker. It's got like a vibe. It's got this like ominous vibe about it.
Yeah, it's like Black Sabbath is like it's like Swamp Thing, like lurking through the fucking swamp.
Yeah.
Right? Or no, actually more like Man Thing.
I don't know what Man Thing is.
Oh, that was like the Marvel Comics like kind of swamp monster, like sort of anti-hero.
Swamp monster.
Yeah, he's kind of he's so he's kind of a horror character, the Man Thing, right? Okay. So Sabbath, everybody go look up Marvel's Man Thing. And you'll see what I mean.
Careful,
like,
though. Be careful, though. Make sure you are watching the sites you're getting taken to.
Right.
When you put in the word "man thing" into Google.
Make sure you search Marvel Comics Man Thing.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
Who knows? They'll do that in the office. Like
what are you doing? Yes, or else you may get a visit from Luis de Jesus.
Oh my God, Louis not made an appearance on the show in so long. I feel bad.
Well,
why aren't you talking about me?
Hopefully he's there to welcome Ozzy into the gates of hell.
Sadly, that neither of them are anywhere. But
right, no, I know.
That's okay. They came from nowhere too, though. So
right, as do we all.
Yeah, exactly. Which
ashes
is kind of
to ashes.
Exactly. Whatever, dude.
Dust to dust.
I was talking to my son. I'm actually gotta be careful talking to my son now because I realize that he's at that age where he's starting to ask for questions about what about he's 15. He's going to be asking like what's the meaning of life? Like where do we come from? I did.
There is no meaning.
I'm like, there's no meaning. You're just here, and you're going to be here for a while. Then you won't be.
like, son, you're
done and done. That's
you're a monkey, and you just need to make sure you have enough bananas to live.
There's a thing though I got to be careful about. Like I don't want to push him to like a nihilistic, well, I guess nothing matters kind of thing either. So I want him to realize that your life is what you make of it, but there's not any grand meaning while we're here. You know
I mean, there's passive nihilism, which is what you just described, but there's also active nihilism where it's like, I know like there's no meaning, but fuck, I'm going to be happy anyway. It's an act of rebellion.
I thought that's when you're working out listening to the band Nile. That's active nihilism, right? Like doing some curls and doing some like triceps. Yeah, dude.
Doing some prog metal curls.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that would be good if you want to extend your workout, right? Because aren't the songs like 10 or 11 20
exactly. Per song? Yeah, that's true. That's perfect. Yeah, I'm gonna do 45 sets, dude.
1001, 1002. My arms are sore because I did so many.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotta watch out for the guns.
Thank you, active nihilism.
They'll get you. Yeah, so just tell your son, like, take a more Nietzschean approach to your cynicism.
No, I'm taking that. I'll go Aristotelian all the way.
Okay,
So,
all right.
but that's just me. Yeah, that's
I like it
with
when
a
we
dash
diverge.
of platonism.
I like it when we diverge into famous philosophers and stuff. Yes,
I'm definitely more of an ancient guy. When it comes to philosophy.
more of a who guy, ancient philosophy.
Yeah, more like ancient philosophy because they're asking the same questions as the modern philosophers. It's just answering them in different ways.
Yeah. I'm more of like a
Keats, Kierkegaard.
No, like a Bertrand Russell.
Yeah.
Like if you want a modern philosopher or bioethicist, I like Peter Singer a lot.
I like the Bertrand Russell Terrier. That one's actually good.
Nietzsche
He's
is
so sweet.
Nietzsche is good as long as you don't misinterpret it.
Yeah, or read it. It's a really good idea. The idea of Nietzsche.
Well, like I said,
really
you've
good.
got to be. Well, you know what? Like you're kind of playing with intellectual fire, but but I think it's like worthwhile.
Yeah, fire.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're going the Van Halen route. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Do you know
that was good, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Come on, man. No, I don't know what we're talking about. We're moving back into some weird. We're getting philosophical here. That's what happens when you lose a hero. You know what I mean?
Right. I have to. Yeah. I want to like just curl into the fetal position and like not flush my poop.
Yeah. You know what's funny is the last podcast we just did was called. But one of the things that on the title was the unbearable sadness of Ozzy, which apparently now we're gonna have to do a part 2 because he's actually gone. I would have never in a million years thought he was going to be dead in a couple weeks. Never in a million years. Who's talking about doing more solo shows and stuff?
I mean, it's hard. What?
Yeah.
What?
Really? Yeah.
No. What?
Yeah. He's like, well, this is the end of the Sabbath, but I might do some more of the solo shows and stuff like that. So
and those could just be the ramblings of an incoherent old guy.
I think he really wanted to do that. I think that's something he kind of thought would be cool to do a few more like solo shows or something like that. But if you can't travel and you can't stand, I mean, like, how are you gonna do that?
Yeah, and he had to sit on that throne like the whole time, and I don't know, man. Like, I think okay, with the exception of this last thing.
Talking about the Back to the Beginning concert specifically, right?
Yeah, this last thing again was great because it made Ozzy feel good. But if we could just like delete the whole like Grammys performance, like wacky waving arm man with Post Malone.
Yeah, I mean, I
feel like, you know what? I feel like that experience with Post Malone probably like hastened Ozzy's demise. So I'm gonna blame Ozzy's death on Post Malone.
So just being in proximity to Post Malone hastened his demise.
I hereby blame Ozzy's death on Post Malone.
Well, I mean, Post Malone's not important enough to give that kind of credit to. Come on, he's gonna pass through life like a autumn breeze. It's gonna just go past, and we'll never even
like an autumn breeze that smells like a drug fart.
I get it, but he's not important enough to care about. You know what I mean?
It'll pass through like an autumn breeze that smells like a methamphetamine fart.
You know, I was asking someone the other day who knows better than this about like, where did he come from? Like, what is he? I mean, he's not great at anything. He's not really a musician. He's not really a rapper. Like, what? Like, where did he come from? And apparently, he grew up in like the like pop punk kind of circles, and then he kind of got in the country, and then he started doing. I mean, like. So I don't even think his image is terribly compelling. Like, I don't understand who he's for. Like, I don't.
No, he's just like Jelly Roll and Nate Smith.
Well, Jelly Roll sings songs and stuff, but I mean,
true. But I mean, like, just like the whole like I'm a big fat dumpy guy with an unkempt beard and stuff, like with poor hygiene. They're just a reflection of like modern American society. It's a bunch of fucking slobs.
Do you think people like them because they see themselves in them?
Yes.
That's interesting.
That's it.
Wow, I just
bingo.
I don't. I mean, that's why I don't get this at all. You know.
Yeah, he doesn't like being a fan of like getting into. So you know, one of the great things about following Ozzy's career and all those great guitar players, is that it challenged us to be better.
Yeah.
Right, you had to work hard to learn how to play this song when you were a kid.
Yeah, especially the Jake stuff, man. The Jake stuff's way out there.
Totally. There's still like choices that Jake makes in some places that like I would
even
not
just
have made,
the rhythm guitar parts are harder than Jake songs. You know what I mean?
Totally.
I mean,
like you have to learn how to play those songs, right?
Yeah.
Post Malone demands nothing of you.
No,
you don't have. You'll never become a better person. Like there's nothing aspirational about Post Malone.
I guess
it's like it's the opposite.
It's just like time wasting, basically. It's just killing time. It's better than staring at the wall.
It's just entertain. It's empty calories.
Yeah. The cotton candy of like it makes sense. I totally believe.
Yeah, it's the 7-Eleven thirsty 2-ouncer of like sound oriented entertainment.
Thanks for listening to the Rock Guitar Confidential Podcast with Brian and Scott. Please make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. Now back to the show. He's like sound oriented. It's like kind of entertainment, kind of sound. Yeah. It's like a little bit of yeah.
You know what? I think we should like trademark that.
Yeah.
You're on
sound oriented entertainment. I mean, there's so much of modern music.
It's a new category. Like, I will have to talk about this next week, but like this group called 100 Gex opened for My Chemical Romance recently.
100 Gex.
Fuck.
Can I ask the question? What's a Geck?
Fuck if I know. I don't know. It's a talentless hack. I don't know.
Is it like a pop punk band? Is it like a...
I don't know.
Okay, well, then why did you bring them up then?
I don't know. It's so bad. Does
that band exist that you have to like put it out there in the world?
Well, you know, I mean, we had topics ready to go.
I'm not a fan of either.
So we had topics ready to go today, but Ozzy died. So I'm just going to put a pin in that, and then next week I'll bitch about like what's happening in the modern world.
Well, you know what's crazy, dude? I was at the gym the other day, and every once in a while, because I don't put in headphones. I'm not okay. This is just gonna go sidebar for a second. I don't understand why people need to have headphones in at all times, 24 hours a day, everywhere they go, no matter what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't get that.
I don't get what that's about. It's like because when I'm at the gym, I'm just there to work out. I'm not there to like listen to. I don't need to be. But anyway, I was walking around and listening to the stuff that they're playing at the gym, the music, and I actually heard a few kind of heavy rock songs. They were pretty cool. I was like, "Who is this band?" I'm like, "This is cool." They're like, it wasn't great. It was kind of like, imagine if like I don't know, like Creed and Alter Bridge had more of a Judas Priest influence.
Did they?
But it had like really cool solos.
Did it have like a Zero Scott Stapp?
No, the vocals were more like modern rock, kind of Foo Fighter-ish, but it was like more Priest kind of riffs and stuff like that. If that made sense, it was really good. I mean, I was stunned. Like, wow, that's
so
cool.
It wasn't her vocals.
It was more like kind of in the Foo Fighters range, I would say.
All right, so it's like an evolutionary step. Like,
but he's got more range than Grohl does, so he kind of had like more range, but his voice sounded a little like Dave Grohl, so and really good solos. Like I was actually stunned, like how good the solos were. Like holy shit, that's actually a great solo.
So he had like a 4-note, like a half octave range.
No, he more than that. He's got a lot more range than him, but his voice had a similar character.
He had a one whole step range.
There goes our hero. No, I mean, it's fine, whatever, dude. I don't hate the Foo Fighters.
Because then you'd have also that half step in between. So you know what I mean? You'd have
so much room to play.
You have like you could there's like
literally half step up and then another half step and then another half step back.
Yeah, you have like literally 3 notes you could sing.
I mean, it's my God.
Dude, you chromaticize like a motherfucker.
But the funny thing is, I didn't. This is where I'm going with this, Mr. Sidetracking me on my telling my story.
Sorry.
I didn't know who the band was. I'm like, well, this is a good band. Like, and then another couple songs later, I'm like, oh my God, this is a good band. Who the hell are these guys? You know what I mean? And I remember like, why is it that nobody who's old or young knows who these guys are? It's like, who is this? Who knows about these guys? Because clearly someone must know. They got on the gym radio or whatever, so someone must know who they are.
Well, to be fair, Ex Aegis has been on the WWE theme song playlist and the heavy lifting workout playlist.
Exactly, so we have 2. But
you could very easily hear "Rising" by Ex Aegis at your gym.
Yep,
if you're a Brazilian.
I always just keep thinking this is good music. Why is it when I hear a young person who wants to learn rock or metal, they're only wanting to learn like Priest, Maiden, Metallica, which is not bad, or Ozzy, or an old person's always bitching about there's no good new music, but they want to learn Priest, Maiden, Ozzy, Metallica. It's like, well, there's a lot of other bands that have come out in the interim. They were pretty good, evidently, but why does nobody know who they are? It's like it's really, I don't know,
because they didn't have record label support because there's no money in the music industry anymore.
Oh my God, dude! I just saw an interview with the guys from Exodus, the bassist and the guitarist in Exodus, and they're talking about exactly that. And like, hey, so like when you get old and retire, what are you gonna do? It's like, retire? What are you talking about? I make just enough money to tour to survive for another 5-6 months, and I gotta go tour again and make money. And then they're all like, look, we're not. Music isn't even what we do. We just sell T-shirts.
Right.
That's basically we just sell T-shirts from town to town. That's what our job is. You know what I mean? And it's like we have a side gig as playing in a band, but that's not what it is. Yeah. And so for rock and metal, I think what is so pure about it in a lot of ways is that you don't get into rock and metal because you think you're going to become the next big thing.
Definitely not
you get
anymore.
Into it because you love it, and this is something you think this is where you have to have another side gig to make a living. You can't there's no way you're making a living doing that. You know what I mean? Even bands that we think of as being pretty big. You're not, because keep in mind, guys, this is something, anyone listening, there's no health care, there's no retirement for musicians. So if you're just making enough on a tour to make it for like 3 months to get to the next tour, there's no retirement plan.
And shit, my health care is about to get more expensive after December 31st because I'm not going to get the subsidy because of the new tax bill.
Yeah, well, everybody's.
I'm looking forward to paying more for my health insurance. I can't wait. It's going to be awesome.
This is what I'm saying, though. As a musician, you don't get that stuff. So people like who... look at rock musicians or people in the band like, oh, you're in a band, you're touring, dude, you're making all kinds of money. Like, no, that's not how it works. You know, not anymore. It was a time where that was the case. And it is for certain bands, for certain really high-level bands who were bands that were like massively huge in the 80s, let's say, or 90s. It still can be a thing for them, sort of, but not close to the scale that it was. You know what I mean? So anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that you don't get in the rock and metal because you want to be rich.
That's right.
You get in the rock and metal because you love it.
Because you love it.
That's what it is. So, and then that's something I think that people like Ozzy inspired on us. Like that's what made people pick up guitar, want to be in a band, is listening to Ozzy's music. You know
Absolutely,
what I mean?
and there was so much of it too. Like, I mean, he kept, you know, I wasn't like huge on the. You know, like we've talked about how he didn't really let Gus G write on. Yeah, that was Gus's
a
album.
missed opportunity, man. Because Gus writes great stuff. He would have actually.
Gus is a stud.
Yeah, listen to any of the Firewind stuff. That's why they hired him. He's a great guitar player. You know,
right.
He writes great stuff. I think. At that time, I have a feeling that it was kind of driven by Sharon. They wanted to be more current. They didn't want to write like classic Ozzy stuff. They wanted to kind of do. That's why they got Andrew Watt. Let's go write something that's kind of like 70s inspired or whatever. You know what I mean? And kind of Deep Purple-y.
Such a bummer.
But they were trying to distance themselves.
And I love Deep Purple too, by the way.
I do too, but that wasn't what Ozzy should be doing. You know what I mean? And they just fumbled it. I think that the desire to stay totally current is always kind of bit Ozzy in the ass. He kind of just should have been what he is. You know what I mean? And it's
well, I mean, like Zach era Ozzy, like that sounded like that was kind of its own sound. You know?
Well,
what I
later
mean? Like,
the first two, I would say, No Rest for the Wicked, No More Tears were like classic Ozzy sounding records. But when they got to like Osmosis and past that, like Down to Earth, Osmosis, that kind of thing, I agree that was kind of fitting in the 90s.
Like Black Rain,
yeah.
Like that was a good album, dude.
Yeah.
I mean,
Osmosis is a good album too.
Sure, like Perry Mason, that's a fucking killer song.
My Jekyll
Holy
Doesn't
shit.
Hide, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
there's some killer stuff on that. Yeah,
totally. I mean, like that was a pretty bespoke Ozzy sound, though. Like nobody, like, I mean, okay, so I think the knock was that they started to sound like Black Label Society.
Yeah.
But that started out as Ozzy.
Yeah.
It's Zach's sound.
But they kind of needed that in the late 90s. The late 90s, for anybody who didn't remember or wasn't there, or maybe was too young to remember, it was a weird time for rock and metal. It was like a weird, like you had to either be rapping or you had to be like this bro metal. And I think
it was a stupid time for rock and metal.
It was close enough to the bro metal, like Godsmack, Disturbed stuff, that it kind of was accepted at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like 3 Days Grace. Like that's come across my purview again recently, and I feel like.
That was perfect for that time, though. I think the way that Zach was writing back then.
Well, and I don't think, I mean, like a band like 3 Days Grace, like I think they're different because it's like heavy music. It's like heavy yet non-offensive music. But then there's no guitar solos, and so that kind of
that was in the late 90s in a nutshell. You couldn't
points.
do guitar solos back then. You know what I mean? It was considered like not cool to do guitar solos.
Like 3 Days Grace is like a band where like you can hear some heavy guitars, but it won't upset your parents, and it's just kind of innocuous.
Do you think that I don't know anything about the band other than I know of the band. Do you think that's because they just didn't want to like go against the grain? Do you think that's because they were into that kind of music? Was it like a just record label driven thing? Like,
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm kind of confounded by like I'm not sure what to make of the band yet. I just know that they seem like the guitar sounds are heavy and there's some cool riffs. But it's completely just like
innocuous.
It's so innocuous. It's completely inoffensive to anybody. It's almost like heavy music made by committee.
I getcha. Well, that honestly could partially be coming from the labels too. I can tell you from having friends of mine, because I've never been in a mainstream leading band. I've always done prog instrumental music, where I've done power metal.
Yep.
I've never done anything that's like never done anything that's sort of like mainstream style stuff. But I've got friends of mine who I've known over the years who have been in bands that were in those meetings with those record labels. And a lot of times they just kind of what they were writing was sort of taken out of their hands, and they were put totally in the hands of a producer and said, okay, we're going to do this. This is what the current sound is. This is what the label wants. And so their own personal opinions were kind of out the window. It's either that or we'll just drop you guys tomorrow and we'll just find somebody else. Exactly. So it's like, well, and then that gives them a chance to at least get some exposure. And then if they do that, it's a smart move for bands at that stage, because if they do that, they're going to get a chance to get some tour support. They're going to get a chance to get out in front of people on some big shows, and then hopefully get some radio play, and then that can lead to them be able to tour indefinitely if they can do that.
Well, back when radio play was a thing.
Yeah, the late 90s to early 2000s, it was still a thing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and
So we
so
have to make sure the time period. Yeah.
So if you had like a radio hit at that time, you could still tour on that radio hit today because you had a radio hit in 2002 or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's something that I've never been close to that because I've always been playing the wrong music at the wrong time.
Yeah. So speaking about playing, let's talk about playing the right music at the right time.
All right. Yep.
So, I think it's time to make all of our students learn some Ozzy songs.
Yeah.
In honor.
Well, I already am doing that all the time.
Well, I mean, I am too, but now it needs to become like a blanket order. So, what are the top 10 Ozzy songs that every guitar student needs to learn yesterday?
Are we going to do each our own 10 list, or are we going to go back and forth?
We can go back and forth. Let's just together make a list.
Now,
here
are
in
you
the
including
moment.
Sabbath with this, or is this just Ozzy songs?
No, I'm going to go just the Ozzy catalog.
Right, I'll tell you this.
Because I think the Black Sabbath songs are more Tony Iommi songs and Geezer Butler songs.
Well, let me just go with the low-hanging fruit, Crazy Train.
Yeah, so you got to have Crazy Train. You got to have Mr. Crowley.
Mr. Crowley, I would say I Don't Know is usually in that mix.
Yeah, I Don't Know is a good one. Yeah.
Flying High Again is definitely in that mix. Bark at the Moon, obviously.
Bark at the Moon, definitely.
Rock and Roll Rebel. I definitely teach that one a lot.
Yeah.
And I teach Mama I'm Coming Home a lot. That's actually a really good ballad. That's
okay, yeah, for a ballad, definitely. I would say you've
Wait,
got...
how many we got now? Is that like 6?
Shit. Yeah. Okay, hang on. God damn.
Just going on the line.
So much for this segment, folks. That went too fast. Okay, we got Crazy Train, we got Crowley, we got what do you say, Flying High Again?
Flying High Again. I Don't Know.
I Don't Know.
Mama I'm Coming Home.
Bark at the Moon. Bark at the Moon. That's
Rock and Roll Rebel.
7. Okay, I'm gonna throw in Miracle Man.
Miracle Man for sure.
Yeah.
I would say I Don't Want to Change the World. That's a good one.
So we're at 9.
And then there's one more. It's got to be a monster, man. How about hang on a sec.
Okay, this is kind of fun. We got up to 9 in a hurry, but now there's this.
Oh, You Can't Kill Rock and Roll.
I don't know. That's not really one of my. I don't know.
That's a great tune because there's a lot of parts to that. There's a clean part.
It's a great tune, but wouldn't No More Tears maybe be?
No More Tears is tough. There's a lot of keyboards in that song, so it's hard. It's going to be, and it's also drop tuning. I'm not going to ask them to tune down.
Yeah. How about Killer of Giants or something? Or Rock and Roll Rebel.
Well, I already had Rock and Roll Rebel. That's on there.
Wait,
we already had Rock and Roll Rebel.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we did. I said Rock and Roll Rebel. It's right here. So this one. This is the one.
No, it's not that finger.
It's Rock and Roll Rebel.
Okay, we said Crazy.
Oh, Ultimate Sin.
Ultimate Sin. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's of course. Yeah.
Although I think you have to drop tune for that one too.
You can make it work without it. You don't have to detune. You know what I mean? I was just teaching someone the other day, and well, this is a different tune. I'm like, well, no, we're not going to play in a different tune.
Yeah, I know. People get so fucking dismayed. I think because they're just well, but drop D is my shortcut to make it easy to play.
Yeah, we're going to do it differently than that.
So no, we're going to learn how to play it.
I want you to be able to play
guitar.
any guitar. Just happen to grab, you can play it.
And if you learned all that music theory stuff I tried to teach you, then you would be able to reason through this and not be dependent on a drop D tuned guitar.
Some people are so YouTube, well, I saw the guy on YouTube. He did this. I'm like, I don't care what the guy on YouTube did.
I'm sure I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but every player faces a fork in the road.
Really, just a regular fork in the road?
It's actually there's 3. The road splits off into 3 paths.
Okay, I'm curious now.
Okay, so you could go down
edge of my seat.
You could go down one path, which is practice really hard and get good at music.
Yeah. Yep.
So you take
otherwise known as the path less traveled.
Right, that's right. Or you could take another path. I'm going to go home and tune my guitar weird.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's another path, though.
And then there's another path.
Which you use capable tuning in a creative way.
Well, then you could go down the other path and you could go, I'll buy a bunch of pedals.
That's true. I guess there's 4 or 5 paths now. I think.
So I think those are the 3 main. But I think getting other access. If you go down, I'm going to buy a bunch of pedal paths that
capos and stuff.
Yeah, that leads to the capos and accessory. That's I'm just going to keep spending money on shit without practicing.
You know what though? That keeps places like Skip Music in business.
It definitely helps. And that stuff's fun. But
it is fun. Yeah.
But you know what?
Don't confuse that with actually making progress as a guitar player.
But you know what? Lessons also keeps Skip's music in business.
That's true. And our job is to do that first fork, which is make people good at music.
Help
you know what I mean?
People get better at music. That's
it's so tough too. When there's something about a musician's approach that I just despise in every way. Trying to still find a way to be gentle is the wrong word, but like not be heavy-handed about it and try and respect. Okay, I'm not going to be too heavy about how much I despise everything about this musician because this kid, and I'm always thinking this kid loves this band. So if I'm going to sit here and shit on this band, I'm being a total jerk to this student of mine. So I got to find a way to be diplomatic when I explain why we're not going to do it the way they did.
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
no,
it's like,
totally.
Because these guys are a bunch of hacks who don't know anything.
It's easier when it's an adult, right? But like finding clever
Sometimes
ways.
it's not though. I mean, sometimes those guys get even more dug in.
Yeah, I remember telling my buddy that we were listening to Disturbed, and again, I know I mentioned this on the podcast, but I had to listen to this Dan Donegan solo.
No, you told me this, yeah.
and I just told the truth. I said, like, this sounds like a guitar solo done by a guy who doesn't want to play guitar solos.
Yeah, or doesn't feel comfortable with it or whatever.
Yeah, he just doesn't like playing solos.
Yeah, he does. I've heard him play good solos. I've heard him actually play some good solos, so I know he can play solos.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard him play. Well, they're not amazing solos, but they're decent. They're not terrible. You know what I mean? And so I know he can play. And his rhythm guitar playing tells you he can play. He's got a solid enough rhythm technique.
Yeah, he's a riffmeister. I gotta give. He went to Tony Iommi Black Sabbath school,
but he can play
like we all did.
He can play really good solos too. Yeah. It's not like he's a terrible player. I think Disturbed is one of the least offensive bro bands. That I don't love them, but
they're kind of innocuous. Also,
they're kind of generic.
So what was with? So I guess David Draymond got booed at the Ozzy thing.
Yeah, I saw him do the thing. I didn't hear them booing him.
Like, what's his controversial?
He did
thing?
Shot in the Dark. He sang Shot in the Dark.
Okay, so why were they booing him though?
I don't know. Is it maybe it's an Israel thing? I think it might be an Israel thing.
Is it an Israel thing?
I think it might be political or something like that.
Maybe a political stance,
which is another reason. One of the many reasons why we should never ever be political as musicians. That's all you're going to do is hurt yourself doing that. And I've had discussions with collaborators before too. Where they want to like bring political opinions into music, and I had to like tell them like, look, I just don't feel comfortable bringing political anything into anything I do musically. There's music. Let's put it this way. Politics doesn't have to infiltrate every aspect of your life. There should be parts of your life that you are a human that exists outside of politics. That,
and you know what? Like, most of it is designed to not make sense and to confuse you.
You mean the political opinions? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Well,
it's about driving wedges, man, and saying the us and them. Right. You know what I mean? That's the thing that.
Well, if you stay in a state, if you're constantly in a state of cognitive dissonance, then you're easily manipulatable.
I like to be in a state of mechanical resonance. That's
yes,
Tesla
me too.
Taught me.
Yes. Or in sympathetic resonance,
there you go,
when your internal organs like vibrate favorably to a frequency.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's frequency. You know what that is?
Whoa!
Wow! I just feel great all of a sudden. I don't know why.
Remember when Ozzy used to have like the little like midget druids that would come out in the middle of the set and like that was like his stage. I'm serious.
I know. I remember.
This isn't just Spinal Tap.
I know.
It was. The little midget guys. What was that like? It was the Diary of a Madman tour.
Yeah. That's totally. I think didn't Dio do that too? I think everyone had like a little midget guy.
Yeah, Spinal Tap, Dio, Ozzy.
I know. Isn't there like a midget guy in the Hall of the Mountain Kings video too?
Oh, of course. Well, by Sabotage. Yeah,
Sabotage.
of course.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a thing. That was like back then. Like, hey,
God, you'd better have like some dwarves on staff if you're the Mountain
times
King.
Back in the, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Makes sense. By the way, did you hear that thing? That whole, I guess Rob Reiner, because they're getting ready to release Spinal Tap 2.
The end continues. I can't wait.
But he was saying that I guess the thing with the Stonehenge, the famous scene when Spinal Tap when the Stonehenge comes down, it's like 2 feet tall.
Right. It was in danger of being trod upon by dwarves.
Yeah, exactly. But apparently that actually really happened to Black Sabbath right around that same time. I didn't know this.
That was a Sabbath thing. Yeah,
that really happened. Yep. I guess the guys in Sabbath were like, "Hey, you ripped it off, whatever." He's like, "Well, no, we wrote that like a year ago, dude. It was not like we just thought this just happened to you." I had no idea that there was that kind of kismet between the two things that actually really happened to Black Sabbath.
That's why Spinal Tap's so great. Like all those Spinal Tap moments, like they had already happened in real life somewhere.
It's like heightened in someone's imagination, but it's funny that it was
like getting lost under the stage.
Truth is stranger than fiction. You know what I mean? And
that's the truth.
That's what the famous Ozzy quote. Like, this is my life. I don't know why this is funny. This is just what I do.
Totally.
It makes sense, and that it's such a time capsule too. I look back at that, and then it's like, okay, this is a time when like a heavy metal band would be nothing but screaming teenage kids into the band. That's a very like mid 80s, early 80s sort of time capsule of when that will be. Can you imagine that now?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I can imagine if you're Poison looking out the audience. I've seen this on the videos too. It's like, oh, okay, these are all regional managers of banks and grandmothers, and the halter tops are probably not a good thing for them to be wearing.
Right. So I just want to point out So we're recording this on Tuesday, July 22nd. Like, I know we don't usually like say the date of when we recorded this,
Yeah,
but I
'cause
mean,
we don't want-
but Ozzy died.
We
so
don't want the man to find us. That's why.
right,
Yeah.
right. You know, but Ozzy died. So like, as we were like walking up here, like we were both, commenting on how even though we're like at the end of July, like it's cool outside
In Northern California, where we are recording.
Yep, in
currently.
Sacramento,
Yeah.
California, right?
Yeah.
But it's a little darker outside. There's some clouds in the sky. It's
Yeah,
a little, and then we find out Ozzy's dead.
Yeah. But
Yeah, man.
I should probably ironically rain on the parade. It's sunny other places though. So I mean, it's
Yeah, but the only place that matters is here right now.
I guess that's true. But I mean,
So I'm gonna give
it's totally sunny in other places, like Southern Cal right now is probably.
I'm gonna give credit to the Prince of Darkness, old
for bringing
Oz.
the clouds.
Yes, and a big thank you to his sponsor, Lord Satan, for bringing the clouds into our lives today.
Because the science, if you go to
Yep.
meteorological school, that's what they
right.
say. Most weather patterns
Exactly.
are caused by the death of rock stars. Everyone knows it.
That's right. So I will now remember that it was a cloudy day in July, the
Yeah.
day that Ozzy died.
Man, it just sucks that we lost, so many people at this point. And that, I mean,
I know.
And the thing that sucks, you look at all the major like heroes who are getting really old, and
Yeah.
you're getting to the end of the line with a lot of these guys.
Fuck. And
it's-
dude, and Eddie Vedder is still out there roaming free.
I know.
And Scott Stapp is still making sounds with his vocal cords.
You know what though? I could imagine
unjust.
those guys probably seem like the kind of guys who are going to drop dead in like their mid to late 50s, just from something crazy, like they're going to fall down an elevator shaft or something like that. We're going to hear a thing in the report in the news, like, oh, Scott Stapp, famous singer for Creed, dies in a tragic elevator shaft accident.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's like it's going to happen.
Can you die from like douchebaggery?
No, unfortunately, those guys live forever. The
boo.
douchebaggery only makes you stronger. It makes you more resistant to all the things.
Well, in that
kill
case,
you.
they'll never die.
Yeah. You're so sad. Hey, man, Cobain died at 27. He did us all a favor. So it's
But that was 10 years too late.
Yeah,
17 would have been
even
superior.
7 years. If he was 7 years,
yeah.
it would have been fine. You know what I mean?
Well, he wasn't. I mean, if he was 7, he wasn't even like a full-fledged person.
No,
yet,
7 years
so-
before he did. If he died at 20 instead
I
of
thought if
27.
you're saying like if he had died at 7. that
No,
would
if
be
he had died
better.
at 20 instead of 27, then he could have probably saved a lot of angst. you
No,
know?
like if he had died at 7, that would have been cool too.
No, dude, if he died at 7, it'd be 88. No one would even give a shit about Nirvana. You know what I mean?
Right. So then no one ever would have.
Yeah,
It
that's
would have
true.
never happened. This is like go back in time and kill Hitler.
Yeah,
like
it's true.
hypothetical.
But more
Yeah.
important. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's it's so terrible that
So yeah, so terrible that Ozzy's gone.
it is terrible. That
Yeah, yeah.
Well, hopefully everyone
So I
out
don't
there
know.
is doing okay, and it's just what it is. I mean, it's probably if you're a young person who's just discovering Ozzy, that you're actually really lucky in a sense that you're going to be able to have to go back and look at this massive catalog of incredible music that you're going to hear for the first time. Which is cool. I can't.
And you know what?
imagine
Go
that,
out and like start your own band and like frighten the shit out of your youth pastor.
Yeah, exactly.
Do it.
Do it and write good music. That's the biggest
Yeah.
thing. Be good at music. Write good music. And-
Write good music and make sure that the right people are angry with you.
Yeah. Well, you can't
Seriously.
control that. I mean, that's sometimes the right people get mad for whatever reason. The wrong people get mad for other reasons. You know what I mean? It's I don't know.
I mean, just make sure that your like rock and metal isn't innocuous.
But make sure it's great.
Yeah, make sure it's great.
Make sure you
Fuck
don't
yeah.
like stop on that path of learning how to play guitar. I know some chords and I can play a couple riffs. Like really become a great player. Like,
Yeah,
push
don't
yourself.
just get stuck at
Yeah.
Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
Like carry on.
Yeah, exactly.
Improve.
Yeah,
Continue to iterate. Learn new things.
Learn to. My philosophy with every student I've ever taught has been learn how to play everything you can imagine and then play what you want. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
like to have so many more factors of ability than what you are actually using at all times. That way your creativity is free.
Yep. Never
not-
stop learning.
You're
man.
not limited by your lack of knowledge. You know
Yep.
what I mean? And I think that's something that's just, because I think one thing that you and I and probably a lot of people of our generation kind of had in common who started playing guitar in the late 80s is it was never a thought of I'm going to be done. It was like there's so many more mountains to climb. Like the bar was so high when we started, like what we're aiming for was so high.
Absolutely.
That it was just like, and then kept getting raised by every other new guitar player who emerged. Like, oh my God, who's this guy? Oh my God, who's this
it
guy?
was usually a guitar player in Ozzy's band that was raising the bar, right?
like-
That's one
But
thing
it
we
was
can be
this
grateful
Ozzy. It was
for.
like so many other guitar players.
I know. I'm just trying to
but-
keep our podcast Ozzy centric.
I get you, but I mean, you're not wrong. There's all the guys who ever
Yeah.
played with Ozzy were fantastic,
Right.
Except for the Andrew Watt guy. But that being said, it wasn't like the goal wasn't just to write a riff and we're cool. Like we had heroes like Yngwie Malmsteen and Eddie Van Halen and Steve
yeah.
Vai and Randy Rhoads and Jake
Yep.
Lee and Warren DeMartini and these people who are just monster players. Like that was our goal, is to be a monster guitar player, and the riffs will come along. Does that make sense? And,
Yeah.
and I think that nowadays it's more of like I'll just learn how to play a couple riffs and that's good enough or something. I don't think, and then maybe they'll get inspired later on to try and start playing great guitar. But I think you and I both had our sights set on great guitar right from the beginning. And then do you know what I mean? It wasn't just like I'm gonna learn these 3 riffs and get in a band. It's not that we didn't do that too, but like our goal was to be an awesome guitar player.
That's right.
That's why we were aiming for that. So that's something everyone should kind of look for when you're thinking about inspiration from Ozzy's music. Like look at the inspiration of the great musicians he played with.
That's right.
Throughout the entirety of his career, including Tony Iommi and Geezer Butler and everybody in Sabbath he played with, and all the guitar players and drummers and bassists who played through and keyboardists, Don Airey.
Yeah.
That they played with him out through his solo career, and it's. I'm just
and
grateful.
Ozzy was successful, like in spite of a lot of social forces. Like you,
or maybe
hear
because
some
of them. You know what I mean? It's
yeah,
possible.
that's true. It's kind of like getting the parental advisory sticker on your album and then going platinum.
Yep, exactly.
So
what's more dangerous too than you shouldn't listen to this?
Well, he successfully Tai Chi'd,
Yeah.
used the energy of his detractors against them.
Yeah. Well, and then it makes kids, especially if you're a teenager who wants to find your own piece of turf in like 1985.
Yeah.
And everyone in your circle saying, man, this Ozzy guy's dangerous. You shouldn't listen to him.
Yeah.
And my God, is there any bigger stamp of approval to go get that album than that?
No
He's
doubt,
dressed like a werewolf on the cover and stuff. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like,
or I always thought, he was dressed kind of like, the family dog.
I know, but like the going for the werewolf
He
thing.
made the great, like I'd like to have an Aussie retriever.
Even if you look at the Blizzard of Oz, like he's in the freaking, looks like an attic with like the cross over his head and stuff, and totally looks insane. And it's like Diary of a Madman.
See, that's the house I want to buy. Like, I want to find a stigmatized property where someone's been murdered, and then look up in the attic and find Ozzy up there with a crucifix. That'd be so rad.
Appreciate that. That's a big sell. If you're looking through a bunch of album covers and like, wait, what's this one? It's like if you're looking for something that's going to freak your parents out or your pastor out, then that's an easy sell. You know what I mean? And then you put the music on and it's awesome. It's like, holy crap, this is it's just a winning recipe.
This will upset the pearl clutchers,
but it's awesome. It's great music. It's not. See, that's how it got you and me, because I didn't give a shit about like trying to upset anybody. I wasn't interested in I didn't care what his politics were. I didn't care what his religious beliefs were. I didn't give a crap about any of that.
Well,
but what I cared about is this guy named Randy Rhoads play guitar and he's freaking awesome.
Well, and I remember, you know what? Like, and I remember having the same feeling with King Diamond. It's like, dude, these guitar players are awesome, and like they don't seem like they're bad guys. I don't think these guys are gonna go to hell for eternity. This is fucking stupid.
Yeah. I mean, but it gets you either way. It can get you because of the counterculture, like what it means rebelliousness-wise, or it can get you because it's just so great that it's so obviously awesome that I've got to get in on this. This is so cool. You know what I mean? I feel like that's how it got me into that. It's just the pure awesomeness of it. You know what I mean?
And I think Ozzy will, no matter how mainstream Ozzy gets, there's still going to be that element of, and again, because of the social cultural makeup of the United States, Ozzy will forever be a little counterculture. And I love that.
And even when he's doing like extremely mainstream things, like he was doing like commercials for different companies or whatever, like Starbucks commercial or whatever, it's like there's still something kind of like off, but like there's Ozzy Osbourne, dude, and they're like, what's going to happen? It's still, even in his older age, people have like, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's he going to do?
It's like
something crazy is going to happen. He's
like
Ozzy.
This guy's a spokesperson for this product that you're going to like buy for your family, but like, do you remember who Ozzy is?
Exactly.
Like, he pissed on the Alamo and like bit the heads off of different animals.
He's the Prince of Darkness, heavy metal madman. You know what I mean?
Right.
That kind of thing. But
he snorted ants.
But he still has that, even into his older age. He still had that kind of vibe about him. Like, oh my God, what's he going to do? It was like that kind of thing. I think Snoop Dogg had that for a long time too. Like, kind of now he's kind of fully morphed into like a TV personality now and like a spokesperson and stuff like that.
He's cuddly like Uncle Snoop.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, he still has a little bit of that too. That kind of what's going to happen. This guy's little nuts. Who knows?
I mean, there's nothing dangerous about Snoop because Snoop's always stoned.
Do you know what I'm saying? Though,
out of his gourd.
He was seen as like a dangerous rapper.
I can't see Snoop Dogg being like having the motivation to be dangerous.
Well, also you can't think Snoop Dogg's dangerous when he's like in partnerships with like Martha Stewart and stuff. It's like,
right?
Yeah, this is our co-venture like with Martha Stewart that I'm doing for the Kmart or whatever. It's like, I guess when Kmart exists, I guess it would be probably Target now or something. But it's like hard to take him seriously as like, oh, he's dangerous, like gangsta now. Oh my God, him and Martha Stewart. It's like, you know what I mean? So dangerous, I know. Anyway,
shit, man.
Anyway, miss you, Oz.
So,
thank you for everything.
Man,
I'm so sad to hear that he passed. It just sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does suck, dude. I'm never gonna co-op and act like I knew the guy, right? Obviously, his family is rightfully grieving, like the people who actually knew him.
All of his fans and people whose life he touched so many people. I mean, like, and I think that's a huge thing. He had an impact on people's lives. Musicians, people who love even television, people who just watch television. He touched on them.
Yeah.
It's just a personality. You're not going to see him again. It reminds me a little bit of like when Johnny Carson dies or something like that. It's like one of these people like
maybe
who's like an icon that kind of is like from a different era. It's like it's
a weird feeling, right?
Yeah.
I am like I would never co-opt someone else's like grief or misery, but like I am legitimately bummed at this moment.
Yep, me too.
Yeah.
Man. I mean, I think most everyone who's listening to this probably feels the same way.
Right. I'm not going to act like someone that I knew died, but like I am bummed.
You know, though, you can say this is someone who mattered, though. In your life.
Sure.
You may not have known them personally, but like they touched your life. There's aspects of your life that were changed and touched and motivated because of this person.
Yeah, that's the truth,
what I mean?
man.
So then
Big
that's
time.
not trying to co-opt or pretend like you know the guy or anything like that. It's just saying like, hey, this person meant something to me.
Yeah,
you know
no
what I mean?
shit.
It's the same thing when Van Halen died, but for me even more so because Eddie Van Halen's like the reason that I chose what I was going to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, Eddie Van Halen's the reason we're sitting at this table right now. If he hadn't picked up a guitar, then like none of it.
So I mean, no, I never met the dude. But I can't say my life didn't get massively impacted by him. But it's not just me; it's like millions of other people.
Same with Sykes. So, dude, so like who's next? Like who else?
Who's gonna die?
Well, no, I mean, I was like, okay, so like if Yngwie died, I'm gonna feel shitty like this.
Yeah.
I'll feel shittier actually.
I'll be really sad when Yngwie died. But he seems like
he's got a ways to go.
He seems like he's got like 20 more years in him.
I think we at least have another good decade of Yngwie.
Yeah, of him being Yngwie. You know what I mean? Vi be another one.
Vi would be tough. Kristen Pelletieri is going to be around for a while.
Yeah, Satch would be a tough one for me. I'm a big Satch fan. He was a big influence on.
I like Satch, but he was a little. I don't know. He wasn't. He didn't have the same appeal to me that guys like Yngwie and Pelletieri did.
He did to me though, and I would say that he gave me permission to make instrumental music. You know what I mean? They gave me
that's good because he was successful.
Yeah, exactly. That's him doing that. Said, hey, I can make instrumental music too. Yeah, him and Steve Morris are the two guys I looked at as when I was forming Scott Allen Project. I was like, hey, I can kind of be somewhere between these two guys.
Dude, if King Diamond or Andy LaRocque die, then I'm gonna have to like take a week off.
I have a feeling we're closer to King Diamond passing than
me too.
Than some other people. You know what I mean?
I think you're right.
I sure hope they finish the new album before that happens.
Right.
Yeah. This is what I've been telling you for a couple of years now. It's like, I'd rather just have the albums. You'll have the album forever.
So King, come on, please
if
finish
they
the album.
More tours, then the great. You saw that show, but you don't have anything you can hold on to the rest of your life.
Yeah, Ozzy's gone now. Yeah. So okay. So if King Diamond dies, I'm taking a week off from work.
That makes sense.
I'm just letting all my students listening know that if King Diamond dies, I'll give you a refund for that week. I'm just gonna take some time.
That
off.
Makes sense because you got to stop and get your crap together, man. This is what's tough when you have someone who touches your life like that, who's important to you in that life that way. It's not the same kind of mourning as if they were your friend or family member, but it is a kind of mourning that hits you and knocks you down. It definitely does. If it means something to you, if it's something that changed your life, you know what I mean.
It's certainly it's a moment that should be observed.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
I remember when Van Halen passed, man. I get a bunch of texts from people like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry." And this is before I even heard the news. I got a text from my friend Todd, and he's like, "Oh Scott, I'm so sorry, man." I was like, going, "What? What happened? What's sorry about what?" And then I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Haven't you seen the news?" I'm like, what? And then oh God, Van Halen passed today. I was like, oh geez.
Yeah, Misty's nephew told Misty, and then I heard about it.
Yeah,
and I just stayed in bed that day.
Yeah, it was tough, man. I wasn't hot that day. I was teaching that day.
Yeah, it happened on a day off. It must have been like a Tuesday. I'll bet you if we look it up, it was a Monday or a Tuesday.
Yeah.
But I just stayed in bed. I was like, fuck, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to engage with the world today.
Yeah.
I'll pass.
Yeah, well, that is what happens. So we'll just keep on enjoying the artists that we love while they're with us, and then just accept that things are going to, just like a river, they're going to keep passing, and you have to kind of keep going and rolling with the changes.
And so, hey, now's a good time to start with Blizzard of Oz and just listen to every Ozzy album in order, like fucking loud in your car, at home, all over the if you're a guitar player, as I hope you are, pick up your guitar and like
bust fucking out Bark at the Moon or something.
Yeah, play fucking loudly so your neighbors can hear it.
Yeah,
right.
Ozzy would want it that way.
That's right. Sure. Exactly right. So right. Unapologetically.
Thank you guys so much for listening to the Rock Guitar Confidential podcast with Ryan and Scott. It's going to sound a little crass, but please make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. And also please make sure to check out our band website at xagesband.com.
That's www.exaegisband.com.
There you find links to our social media, and please make sure to follow us on social media so you don't miss out any updates on our band progress or our podcasts or just what we have going on in life. Hope everyone's doing good. Go back and crank some Ozzy, as Ryan said, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.